This is a hat trick
podcast.
Oh, lovely.
Welcome to In the News This Week, the podcast from some of the team who've worked on Have I Got News For You?
I'm Emerald Paston.
I'm Mike Rayment.
I'm Queenie Miller.
And I'm Jack Harris.
We'll be taking you through the big and not so big stories in the news this week when the TV show can't. Think of it like this. If the main show is a BAFTA award, then we're a 25-metre swimming badge.
I think I'd prefer the badge, to be honest.
Is that the one you get for jumping in the pool with your pyjamas on?
Well, we have to get a brick from the bottom of the...
Yeah, maybe that was a stupidity badge.
I'm trying to link it to politics and think who could swim the furthest.
Oh, Ed Davey. He's had all the practice in the world for it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got so many badges.
If I was going to make up a conspiracy theory, it would be that no politicians can swim.
What? Why?
I just think that's... How can you check that?
Quite easily. See.
Hey, the thing about conspiracy theories is you have to follow them blindly and not interrogate them at all. So I don't appreciate that, Jack.
I've never seen a politician swimming.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a politician swimming?
Yeah, Davey.
Not swimming.
He's been falling into things.
Falling into water, paddleboarding,
Sliding.
wearing lots of swimming paraphernalia.
I've seen both Boris Johnson and David Cameron in swimming costumes.
We don't need to know what you do in your spare time, Jack.
Penny Mordaunt. She did that diving show.
Yeah, but she didn't swim. She just jumped into water.
Swim. That's true.
Queenie, you've convinced us.
Okay, I'm sold. There we go.
So if you're listening at home and you've seen a politician swimming...
Don't tell us. We don't want to know.
Yeah, if you've got any photos of it, burn them with fire.
So, Jack, how was the first episode of Have I Got News For You US?
It was
second
great.
series.
Really good. We got off to a storming start. So much stuff has happened since we were last on, because the last episode was 2 weeks after the election. And then obviously inauguration, Elon Musk, changes to federal government, all the cabinet nominees getting
Sworn in, yeah.
So it's just a crazy amount of stuff going on.
Just one of those storylines would sustain like a whole series.
Yeah.
What do you think was the most interesting story that you covered out of all of them?
So there was quite a good bit about, Elon Musk's staffers, his Doge staffers are these young...
The teenage boys.
Yeah. One of them is called Big Balls. That's his sort of LinkedIn username. Big Balls also owns a company called Tesla.sexy LLC.
Oh my God.
Which is a pretty cool company, which owns a load of domain names. But his dad is the CEO of this popcorn company that's like really big in the States, really, really popular. Lesser Evil, it's called.
There's a popcorn company called Lesser Evil. What the hell?
This family is not good at branding. This family...
That is not the name I was expecting to hear.
So Big Ball's dad had to put out an announcement to say, hey, we're not involved in anything to do with politics, because of his 19-year-old son
Oh my God.
cutting and sending emails to loads of federal workers and being like, you're out.
You're sincerely Big Balls.
Yeah. Your boss, Big Balls.
Regretfully, Big Balls. But then Labour have done the same. It's quite funny. All governments seem to do it. Labour came in and said, trim down the civil service, and there's way too many of them. And they're getting in the way and obstructing government. And I thought, oh, that's exactly what Trump and those guys have been saying, but you're going to do it differently.
Yeah, it's like America has fired a load of people who are in control of the nuclear weapons and then realised that's what their job was and had to rehire them.
They had to re-interview for their jobs.
Yeah. It's like, I see on your CV you've had exactly the same role as the one you're going for. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you fired me 24 hours ago.
Can you tell me about a time when you've been under severe pressure and considered starting a nuclear war? Talking of nuclear wars.
Yes. Shall we turn to round one, where we discuss the big talking point of the week? The European leaders meeting in Paris for an emergency summit on Ukraine, and then the US and Russian leaders meeting separately in Saudi Arabia. You wait for one peace summit and two come along at once.
Yeah.
Typical.
And you don't want to get on either.
No.
But we're recording on Monday, which is when they have this...
Paris.
You said emergency meeting there, Emerald. I was actually reading the French government very quickly told Politico, it's not an emergency meeting, actually. It's just an informal meeting.
It's just chill.
Which is what they said.
Yeah.
Of all the main leaders in Europe, assembled very, very quickly. But it's not an emergency in any way.
Do you think this is Trump getting what he wants? Because he sent JD Vance over there. He's about as subtle as a sledgehammer. It sort of freaked everyone out because he went over and went, you're all rubbish and you're all terrible and you need to get your acts together. And they kind of are getting their acts together.
Is it less JD Vance, more the fact that Trump has been having calls with Putin and promising him mineral reserves and no NATO membership? Is that more?
Yeah,
Is that more why everyone's
it's more
panicking?
the sidelining, isn't it? It's the sidelining of Ukraine and the EU.
Yeah.
It is terrifying, the idea that Trump and Putin are going to decide how to carve up Europe. I think that's the imagery that everyone's going, hang on a minute.
It's like US in Saudi Arabia discussing with Russia about the future of Ukraine without Ukraine, and the future of European security without European leaders.
But don't worry, because Keir Starmer...
he's going to save the day.
Bridge.
I think of him less as a bridge and more of a plank that people are trying to sort of tightrope across.
I guess the key thing about a bridge is that people walk all over it. So I don't really know why he's selling himself as a bridge.
Yeah, that's probably... I think he's quite happy to be walked all over.
Who's the troll that lives underneath him?
Wes Streeting.
It's got to be...
True.
Or Nigel Farage.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
With that froggy charisma. That's a quote,
Yeah.
by the way. That's not... I didn't make that up.
But what I quite liked is the US said, hey, look, we're not totally leaving Europe out of it, because we sent them a questionnaire to ask, what can you do for European security?
Are you satisfied with your American relationship?
But they basically sent them a questionnaire and said, what can you do?
Yeah.
Which feels like an office leaving gift, like a whip around, right? So they've been like, yeah, Finland have said they could chuck in a couple of tanks, and Spain have got a couple of guns knocking about.
And we got you a Colin the Caterpillar.
Yeah, and knowing full well that Ukraine are leaving for a much worse job, and essentially got this new guy coming in. What does that actually get you, essentially?
And also the big thing is, like, were they able to see what everyone else was contributing to the pot before they did? Because that's always the tricky thing
shout.
with office collections.
Someone realises that someone's only chucked in a couple of hundred soldiers.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, we said 5,000.
Exactly.
Why didn't you ask them beforehand?
Keir Starmer literally put in a $5.
Yeah. But it does get them like a Groupon voucher to future occupancy. I think that's the thing that gets you in terms of the whip around.
Ed Davies been chipping in, hasn't he?
Yeah, I saw that.
I didn't. What
I
happened?
haven't seen it, Davey. What did he say?
Oh.
Go on, Emma.
My Google alert must not be working.
He was really saying that we need to stand up to Trump, and he said if it descends into some sort of Farage-style bootlicking operation, Trump is just going to walk all over us. And he had all these strong words, and then at the end he said, nonetheless, it's an opportunity for the Lib Dems.
That's the most Lib Dem thing ever.
Yeah.
Exactly. Everything is an opportunity for them.
And when you want us to get bootlicking, we'll get down to it.
Yeah.
Because it is so big. Anyone can put their 2 cents in. I saw Grant Shapps getting back in the news.
Oh, wow.
No.
He was talking to The Sun on Sunday, and he was saying that basically it's like this thing of like, well, we need European unity, and this is a time to come together. And he's like, yeah, when I was Defence Secretary, all our nukes were there to support the whole of Europe. France, just looking out for themselves. So apparently France only have their nuclear weapons to protect their own country. And like Europe's like a secondary thing. Whereas we're like, no, our nukes are for everybody.
That's because America pays for our nukes.
Okay, that's we have to go with it.
I think it's very much like we turn around and go, should we point them at Norwich? No. No. Get them over there. I don't know why I said point them at Norwich.
Mate, that's just straight away in your head. Where goes first?
Some kind of innate bias within you, Mike.
Yeah. That's why I got kicked out of Sandhurst.
I just love it when people feel like they can get involved. It should be given a term, like it's got to be something to do with Liz Truss, isn't it? It's like a Trussism.
The Truss take.
Trust
Yeah.
issues.
Truss issues.
Oh, yes,
People
Queenie.
raising Truss issues. That's very
What is
good.
it like? A sound like a disease? Trusteria or something?
Justitis.
Got a bad bout of
Trustitis.
trustitis. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trustuberculosis.
Shaps has got a bit of trustitis.
Was it like thrush? It's just truss.
He's got a bad case of trust. Kemi Badenoch did something similar. Even though she's like leader of the opposition, it does feel like she's got trustitis when she gets involved, doesn't it?
I was baffled by a headline that I saw that says, Kemi Badenoch says Western civilization will be lost if Tory party fails.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. You're like, we're the only saviour. Yeah. She said it would collapse like the Roman Empire.
I say it couldn't fall without the Tory party. They were doing their best. They were on their way.
It makes sense if that's what they were trying to do.
Didn't Kemi Badenoch also say some cultures are better than others?
Yeah.
Yes.
would be fascinated to push her on that and ask which ones.
Yeah. Oh, could you give us the list just so we're clear?
Wondering, Kemi, which ones do you mean?
Do you want to rank them for us?
Yeah. All right, guys, let's go around the group. Best religion, go. Best and worst. There was an article in the Times at the weekend about Kemi Badenoch, and just saying there's a lot of grumblings behind the scenes, and basically people, I don't know if you guys saw this, people aren't happy with their performance during
PMQs, right?
PMQs, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not going very well. And they had a clip, I don't know if you saw that, where she said, why is Keir Starmer employed a guy who's letting work from home in Finland? And Keir Starmer just went up and went, A, you guys employed him. He got employed under the Tories. And B, we just sent him an email saying he's got to come into the office. So he sort of absolutely stitched her up.
To be absolutely done by Starmer is another level of embarrassing that I can't even comprehend.
Zing.
A guy with no charisma who's just absolutely eating you alive.
But you can almost see him like boiling. He's like, oh my God, I know I'm about to say, I'm about to destroy it. Like,
I'm going to get so many high fives in the common break room.
But he kind of like couldn't contain himself with excitement.
He'd be so bad at poker.
Mike, I saw that article you were talking about, and I think there was like one bit of defence of her from one of her MPs, and they said, we've got the leader we've got. People are saying she's got until the local elections to prove herself are nuts. We cannot possibly change our leader again, which, I don't know, that sounds like a pretty big vote of confidence to me.
Yeah, that's the only reason to keep it. It's just, we'd look crazy.
We can't do it again.
Yeah.
On like a slightly serious point, with this kind of US deal, they've kind of like found the draft agreement that the US have put forward to Ukraine as to what they would get if they like were to sort of protect them. And it's insane. It's like what they'd give to the US, it's like 50% of revenues from any resource extraction. So these are like the minerals and that sort of stuff. But it's also like oil and gas, ports and infrastructure. But it would be a higher share of Ukrainian GDP than reparations that are imposed on Germany after World War One.
Oh, wow.
Just a reminder that Germany were the aggressors in World War One and also lost it. And it's like Trump sees them to be in debt because they've already paid a load of money to give them weapons and all this sort of stuff. But if you're Ukraine, you're like, what? Like, what do we do? Like, he's treating it like he would do a company. Do you know what I mean?
He's like selling off assets to his allies.
Yeah.
Jack, can I ask a question for you as a physics teacher?
Yeah.
I don't know what rare earth minerals are, because all I imagine is like, you know, when you get like those really fancy sports drinks that say they've got electrolytes, I imagine it just makes me feel like really thirsty. Like it'd be really refreshing to drink some.
That is it. Basically, Ukraine have a massive supply of Lucozade underneath the ground, and
the main export is smart water.
Yeah. It's stuff used for like microchips, basically, isn't it? I think that's what it is.
I think uranium was one of them.
We definitely want to give Russia more of that, I think, right?
Yeah.
I think that's smart.
I just read rare earth minerals and thought that sounds quite good, doesn't it?
Just made me thirsty every time. I'm thirsty now just thinking about it. And I mean thirsty in the classic sense, not what you young people say thirsty.
Oh my God.
There was also reports coming out of America this week that they're going to recognise Taiwan.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is quite wild.
Is it just balancing? Because I guess a lot of people are saying that what Trump is arranging with Russia kind of gives China a bit of a chance to muscle in on the parts of the world they want in on. So is that him just trying to balance it out? I have no idea.
Just balancing, giving everyone a bit of shit.
Yeah. Be like, no, China, you can't do the same with Taiwan. Is that what he's doing?
What made me think of it was Taiwan make microchips, don't they? So, yeah.
That's the whole reason that they're having this big argument about Taiwan.
Well, all I was thinking was when you had a load of chips, you do get very thirsty, so you need those rare earth minerals to wash it down.
You're exactly right, mate.
Also, we totally know all the words and the jargon in this conversation.
I don't think people listening realise how unintelligent people who work on the news you are.
I think they do. I think they have.
They do now. I think they do now.
Welcome back to In the News This Week. It's time now for round 2, in which each of you has brought a news story from the week that you think would be perfect for round 2 of the TV show. So let's start with Jack. What have you got for us this week?
Basically, researchers asked trained human sniffers to sniff Egyptian mummies, which are 3,000 years old, basically. And we're like, we want you to tell us what they smell like. What do we think was the conclusion of like a 3,000-year-old corpse?
Nothing?
Dusty?
Well, to start with, can I just say I think this is probably an undercover sting so they can, like, get some perverts out from undercover.
These people are basically creeps.
I was about to say I really wanted to apply for that job, so I'm really upset I didn't hear about it before.
wow.
There we go.
That's like my exact niche.
Well, Queenie, you'll be pleased to know that actually they were described to smell both sweet and spicy.
Oh my God.
Apparently.
2 flavours.
Someone else described them as woody.
Okay.
And in the words of CNN, they smell nice, which I quite liked.
That's so vague.
I'm not entirely surprised because they had quite rigorous embalming tactics.
Exactly right. And apparently in ancient Egypt, like, smell was a big thing. But I just quite liked the idea of trained human sniffers as a quote is amazing because I don't know how you become trained for that other than something nefarious.
Is it that they're human or that they smell human?
I mean, they are definitely human, for one thing. But whether those humans only smell other humans, who knows?
Yeah. Maybe it should be trained human sniffers.
Yeah.
Maybe that would make it clearer.
They really should make it. I'm going to write them an email. But I also like, it was like, as we showed in the first part of this podcast, our vague ability to be able to describe things and not really just use keywords that don't really make much sense. They said they used an electronic artificial nose of sorts. It's like, you don't fucking know what we're talking about, do you?
Of sorts.
Of sorts. Of sorts is such a covering phrase for just, I don't really know what I'm writing about.
For like journalism
Yeah.
of sorts.
That's basically us on this podcast.
You know, like, I think I heard.
Rare earth minerals of sorts.
Of sorts.
Of sorts, yeah. There was an interview last week, completely separate to the ancient Egyptian mummy, with a themed smell consultant. It was in The Guardian. They interviewed this guy who comes up with smells for, like, theme parks and lots of different things.
Does he name them or does he like create the actual...
Well, it's based in Manchester and they have a massive storeroom of just like all of these smells, which he said goes from apples to zebra urine, which
Whoa.
I was thinking, what comes after zebra? Zombie something, surely. I think zebra urine can't be the bottom one. Zombie urine, I would imagine.
That's the problem you had with that.
Who knows? Again, maybe it's a zombies do piss of sorts.
The intellectual sequel to Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
Do zombies piss?
Do Zombies Piss
of
by
sorts.
Jash Harris.
The coverall. I like that as my coverall now, of sorts. But he said they did a test for rotting flesh on a Texas Chainsaw Massacre attraction.
And it
the
actually
US.
smelled really nice.
Yeah, and instead of everyone feeling afraid, everyone came out really wanting some burgers.
No.
Apparently.
Is that true? That's what he says. Wow.
Everyone was like, should we have a barbecue?
Oh my God.
That was an excellent story.
Thank you for that horrible story, Jack.
Anytime.
Queenie, what have you got this week?
Yes. So, at an ice hockey game between the USA and Canada, the American players were expecting a hostile crowd in Montreal after Trump's comments that Canada should become a US state. But 3 fights broke out within the first 9 seconds of the match.
Oh my God.
So good.
I think this captures the phrase, we used to be a proper country. I think this is what we should be doing.
It was 2 brothers, wasn't it?
Yeah, two brothers on the USA team fought 2 other Canadian players.
This is like wrestling.
Yeah, like tag team.
One of the brothers is a really high-profile Trump supporter.
One of them went to the White House because they won something, didn't they? And they went to the White House to see him.
Yeah, this is Matthew Katchuk, I think that's how you say his name. Was one brother, Brady's the other brother.
He's named after hurting animals.
Oh my God.
Steve Dogkick.
And wasn't the other guy Bob Mouseblatt? That was it, wasn't it?
Oh my God.
Just a really nice bunch of guys.
Yeah.
The Canadian fans also booed during the Star Spangled Banner, which is just kind of standard.
But it's been so much worse. Like, they kind of boo, but it's been mental.
Yeah.
It's like they've really, really gone for it.
I love that, like,
Oh.
in Britain, 3 fights in 9 seconds and booing a national anthem is just England playing someone.
Yeah, that's just any
Whereas,
Millwall
like-
match.
Yeah.
What I really like is the idea that as they're throwing punches, the Canadian is going, we'll never pay 25% for steel. You know, just really going for
Yeah,
tariffs.
Getting really specific
Yeah, proper
about
policy
it.
points.
While also apologising.
It's $3 billion for our border security, you bastard. It's just like punching away. But it's so weird to watch. Have you watched the clips? Because they just like the referees just let them do it.
Are you going to get in the
Yeah.
way?
Oh my
I'm
God.
not.
Oh no! But I read a rule which said players escape serious punishment so long as they drop their sticks, so as not to use them as a weapon. So it's good. They've thought it through, you know.
Wait, so they're actually allowed to fight?
Yeah, the referees don't stop it. They take off their gloves, and the commentators are like, "Here we go."
Oh, that's so weird.
The puck got put down, and these guys just took their gloves off and went straight to fight. It was absolutely brilliant.
Oh, I could get into that.
Yeah, it's properly like going back to ancient Roman entertainment.
They should bring out lions on skates onto the ice.
Yeah.
Just once per quarter. Time for the lion.
Thank you for that story, Queenie. That violent story.
Great story.
Mike, what story have you brought?
I thought I'd keep up my record of bringing cheery stories to the podcast. So I'm going to talk about, I don't know if you see this, there's an asteroid that's going to hit the Earth in 7 years' time, and we're all doomed.
Yay!
Except we're not really, because it's just making headlines. No, there's an asteroid, snappily named Asteroid 2024 YR4.
Let's just rename it Big Balls.
Yeah.
That should do the job.
Big ball.
Big ball. Yeah, one big ball.
Not to be confused with Big Balls. Big Ball. So Big Ball is one of the asteroids that's been monitored, and it made the headlines because they upped its probability of hitting the Earth to 2.2%, which is about as high as any asteroid around at the moment. But it's disappeared, and they won't see it. I think they won't see it again for another 3 or 4 years.
Great.
So they went, we'll just put it at 2.2% probability of hitting the Earth, and then hopefully when it comes back around, it won't be.
So that 2.2%, what happens if it does hit the Earth?
Where will it hit?
Well, that's the thing. So there's
Norwich, obviously.
Obviously, well, I think it already looks like it might have hit Norwich.
If Mike gets his way.
Yeah, I'll be pointing the nuclear weapons the other direction. Do you know what's great about this story? It's a classic Have I Got News For You story, in which you dig down into it, and there's actually incredibly little detail. And the few quotes they have are just experts going, it probably won't. I don't know, it might do. We'll find out in a few years. Don't worry about it, guys.
Does it say stuff like the collision could be apocalyptic of sorts?
It is basically the most of sorts story that's ever existed. So, of course, like the Daily Mail, the Mirror, the Sun,
The
all the
Star.
tabloids, the Star. Yeah, they've all gone to their computer graphics guy gone, can you let us know what it would look like if Norwich was turned into a flaming crater? Yeah, so they've done lots of reenactments and they've imagined, and like there was a list in the Daily Mail of cities that it might hit in order of probability. Chances are it won't hit any of them given the majority of the Earth's water. Also the chances are it won't hit at all. But the thing that caught my eyes, there's a bit of a thing in the international community that they don't know how to describe asteroids. There's no convention for describing the size of asteroids. So the general consensus around this one is it's the size of a football pitch. But in previous years, different newspapers have gone for different unit measurements. So the Jerusalem Post was describing an asteroid a few years ago, and it said it was the size of 100 adult pugs. That's a real article.
That's not that big, is it? That's not very big.
I'll be honest, that does make more sense to me because the size of a football pitch, but it's not like long and flat. So is that like if you rolled a football pitch up? Whereas 100, adult-sized pugs, I can imagine them gathered together and I can visualise how big that would be.
I'm imagining them on a field, so I can see them nice and flat.
No.
That's the problem.
They're less
In a
intimidating.
line. I just see them in a big long line. So it's like this spear coming towards there. What a nightmare.
Well, the Daily Mail also recently described another as approximately half a giraffe.
Which half?
I've got that, yeah.
Which half? Where are you drawing the line?
Didn't specify. If it's a neck end, you probably don't have to worry as much, whereas the bottom end's quite bulky. The other thing is, like, every single article in this is like the small print is, it's only 2.2%. It'll probably go back down. It's incredible. And I don't want people to worry. So I've compiled a list of some other things, the probability of them happening, just to explain how unlikely it is. I'll see if you can guess. So, probability of the United Kingdom winning Eurovision this year?
Oh my God.
0%.
4%.
2.9%.
Nice.
So, more likely to win Eurovision than be wiped out by an asteroid.
That's positive.
The chance of Spurs winning a trophy this season?
Oh, mate, don't do it to yourself.
That means nothing to me.
It's 20%. It's 20% apparently.
You just had to put that in there.
In Europa
Wow.
League.
There we go.
We need that to be
Instantly,
verified.
these statistics go out the window. Absolute horseshit.
No.
That you're talking about. Where's the 20% come from, Mike? Is it a calculation that you've done?
Space boffins.
Yeah.
of sorts.
This is the calculation Mike did in his dream journal last night.
How bleak would it be, my imagination and my dreams, if even I could only predict 20%?
20%.
Hey, that's exactly you said the words, mate. You said the words.
No, what I would say is Spurs will not win a trophy this season. So the fact that they've got a 20% chance, I think we all don't need to worry about the Asteroid.
It's made me feel very happy about this Asteroid now, to be honest.
And finally, Kemi Badenoch becoming our next Prime Minister.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
That's going to be
gotta be low,
too high. Whatever the
although
number.
actually not that
6%?
low. Because
6%?
the reality is
She is the leader of the opposition.
Yeah, 25%.
30.8%.
Oh,
Yeah,
my God.
That makes sense.
So there you go. So maybe, hey guys, give her a chance.
No, thanks.
That should be their slogan. There's more chance of Kemi Badenoch becoming Prime Minister than an asteroid smashing into Norwich.
So you might as well accept it.
Does that fit on the side of a bus? I reckon it will.
Finally, it's time for round 3, the missing words round. So I'm going to read out some headlines from the past week, and all you guys need to do is fill in the missing words. So
Missing words. Missing words.
That's what Ian does every time.
We had to cut it out of the episode.
In his head.
104-year-old woman fulfills lifelong dream of what?
Getting their pension.
Skydiving naked.
That's Ed Davies.
Joining the Magic XXL cast.
Great. No, the actual answer is 104-year-old woman fulfills lifelong dream of going to prison. So this is Loretta from New York State. I know we talk a lot about older members of society hitting 100 and the weird things they say and do. But yeah, she decided she wanted to get arrested and taken to jail for her 104th birthday. So she was fingerprinted, she had her mugshot taken, she got locked in a cell, and then she had some birthday cake to end the day.
She didn't commit a crime.
She didn't actually commit a crime, no.
Damn it.
It's a new Labour policy. Keeps them warm.
Yeah, it's the new housing initiative.
Do you reckon she actually said that she wanted to go to Gales and they just misheard her and then she had to just go with it?
She was offered a private tour of the whole facility and she got to see the elaborate surveillance system. So I feel like this could just be the start of an amazing heist
I was
movie.
about to say, she's going to gather a team.
Yeah, she's going to do a jailbreak.
She also got a massive cake. I saw a picture of her with a massive cake. You think, what's in that cake?
Yeah.
Oh, good question.
Probably some kind of drugs to keep them sedated, to be honest. But other than that, maybe a file.
Big old file. Yeah.
The sheriff asked her what the secret to a long life is, and we know we love these answers, and she said it's to mind your own business.
Legend.
Which is basically the opposite of what law enforcement officers are
wow.
meant to do. So
Yeah.
Mind your own business, you narc. She's been in a jail for like one day and she's already like walking around calling them the pigs and stuff like that.
But we put this Missing Words headline out on social media, and congratulations to Tory Pops 1 on Instagram, who made us laugh with their response to this round when they said 104-year-old woman fulfills lifelong dream of completing Wordle in one, which is my dream too. Next missing word question. Germans offered blank to persuade them to vote in the election.
Rare earth minerals.
Yeah. Schnitzel?
Oh, you're close.
Really?
Beer.
Well done, Queenie.
No.
Yeah.
They were offered free beer to combat low voter turnout in the city of Duisburg. Authorities laid on free beer to try and get more people to sign up for postal votes. And actually, schnitzel was very close as well, because the article also mentions that sausages were available too.
That would work in the UK too.
Yeah, it really would,
Beer and
wouldn't it?
sausages.
Although you would end up with more than just ballots in the ballot box. People throwing up in there.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Or
I was
leaving
like,
bits
where?
of half sausage.
Yeah, I was going to say, it depends on how well cooked the sausage is, I guess.
Yeah, that's an Australian thing though, isn't it? They have elections, they have sausage sizzles.
I thought you were
they?
going to say, put half a sausage in a ballot box.
That's how they vote in
That's
Australia.
the Democratic Party, yeah.
And the winner is the man with 50 half-eaten sausages. He's our new mayor.
I think the winner is a half-eaten sausage. He got more votes. He came out of the debate better. He's a half-eaten snag.
Yeah, should we do one final missing
Yes,
word
please.
headline? Ringo Starr confirms he's never what?
Bit of drummer.
Actually wanted peace and love, peace and love.
Oh.
I think I did actually see this one. Can I
Go on,
continue
Queenie.
my winning streak? Is it never eaten a
Yeah.
curry?
Oh my word.
No, you're right. He's never eaten pizza or curry.
2.
Never eaten pizza or curry.
What?
I don't think
Wild.
that's true. He did a lot of drugs in the 70s, 60s, 70s. He doesn't know.
He said it's down to his allergies rather than his preferences. But then he appeared as a spokesperson for Pizza Hut in 1995, and he's all over their adverts from the time. I was watching it thinking, surely he takes a bite of it and this is going to disprove what he's saying, but he never does. He brings it close to his lips and it cuts away.
Or does it go like he brings it to his lips and then it just cuts to a mouth, a disembodied mouth that's chewing away on pizza?
There's a lot of fingers in the advert.
Oh.
So he's never said he didn't touch a pizza.
I had a mate in Watford, he got sacked from Pizza Hut because he was waitering at Pizza Hut and he took a pizza to the table.
Waitering is strong.
And everyone turned to look at him and stared at him, and he realised there was a string of cheese going from the pizza to the corner of his mouth.
Oh my God. That's so disgusting.
Thank you for listening to In the News This Week. If you've enjoyed this episode, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
For updates on the show, make sure you're following Have I Got News For You on Instagram, TikTok and Twitter.
You can also get in touch with us by emailing podcasts@hattrick.com. That's hattrick with 2 T's.
Make sure you follow and subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening to it now, and we'll see you here for next week's episode. Bye.
Bye.
Peace and love. I can't do the accent.
In the News This Week is presented by Jack Harris, Queenie Miller, Emerald Paston and Mike Rayment. The producer is Diggory Waite. The executive producer is Claire Broughton. And the music is by Big George. In the News This Week is a Hat Trick podcast.